Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lieutenant General Mike Plehn, President of the United States National Defense University, located in historic Fort McNair in the heart of our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. On behalf of the entire NDU team, I wish you a warm welcome to NDU and Cyber Beacon 2021. We are immensely proud of the work done by our College of Information and Cyberspace, or CIC as we commonly call it, as they host this flagship annual conference, now in its 8th consecutive year. It is no surprise that cyberspace plays an increasingly central role in the lives of people and societies globally, just as it is playing an increasingly critical role in national, regional, and global security. The high-caliber speakers we will hear from today, as well as all of you in the audience, present a powerful testament to the widespread acknowledgement of the importance of the cyber domain. Through CIC, we offer the premier graduate education for preparing national security leaders to develop and implement cyberspace considerations in our strategies. In this role, CIC is instrumental in shaping the future national security environment by educating the next generation of our senior leaders. CIC also contributes to America's preparedness by stimulating thought, discussion, and research on key issues by hosting events like this. For those of you unfamiliar with NDU, we've recently updated our mission statement to focus on our unique role in educating joint warfighters and other national security leaders in critical thinking and the creative application of military power to inform national strategy and globally integrated operations under conditions of disruptive change in order to prevail in war, peace, and competition. There's a lot to that mission, but what stands out for this particular audience are two things. First is the acknowledgement of disruptive change, specifically the unrelenting and lightning-fast change in technology across the cyberspace domain, as well as the tilt toward great power competition made more complex in a multipolar world that is still grappling with radical extremism, and finally the evolving COVID environment that much of our world is still dealing with. How are we to prevail when constant and considerable change is the norm in the current and future global security environment? Answering that question is exactly what I hope will be the driving force for the conversation we have here today, and why I'm so glad this year's Cyber Beacon theme is a COVID-focused one. The second change to our mission that I would invite your attention to is the requirement that we prepare leaders to prevail in war, peace, and competition. Should we be prepared to dominate in a hot war? Absolutely. But the reality is that we strive for peace, but we spend much of our time engaged in various types of international cooperation and competition with relationships, economics, ideology, culture, and politics included in the mix. National security leaders of today and tomorrow must be prepared to leverage all instruments of national power in concert with international allies and partners. For this reason, our true purpose is to create strategic advantage by forging relationships and developing joint warfighters and other national security leaders through whole of nations and whole of government educational programs, research, and engagement. I believe history has much to tell us if we listen. This week marks 80 years since the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, and we remember the loss of thousands of American service members on that day of infamy and in the years of war that followed. As we reflect on and remember Pearl Harbor Day, we should also pause to consider that our adversaries at the time had utilized a relatively new, developing, and technologically dependent domain of warfare in pursuit of their objectives. In that case, it was the air domain. And it's important to note that since the air domain also encompasses and touches the land and the sea, it could also affect those domains, and it most certainly did. I ask you to consider how we, both as a nation and an international community of allies, ultimately prevailed in the conflict that followed that attack on Pearl Harbor, and how we came to dominate the air domain to the extent that U.S. forces did not face airborne attack for many decades afterwards. Fast forward to today, where we now have the cyberspace domain that touches and encompasses the land, sea, air, and space domains, and cyber can and will have effects in all of those domains, as well. There's been much talk over the years about a cyber Pearl Harbor or cyber 9/11 style attack. Some contend we've already suffered through such attacks, even though the lack of physical explosions caused some to disregard those comparisons. Whether you find such comparisons useful or not, we have a long way to go to ensure we're prepared and can prevent such an attack, and if needed, prevail in the cyber domain, just as we have in the other physical domains. In welcoming you to NDU, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to share with you some of what we believe makes NDU a uniquely valuable investment in national and international security. In the past, we relied on professional forces that were better equipped than our adversaries. The belief was that technological superiority would provide a competitive edge. That advantage is no longer assured nor sufficient. We must rely on future leaders who are qualitatively better than our competitors and adversaries. Put simply, we must be able to outthink the opposition. Preparing our students today to deliver intellectual overmatch tomorrow is the essence of what we do at NDU. While graduates of other universities might be judged by their contributions to a company's profitability and shareholder value, our graduates are judged by the longer-term metrics of the peace, security, and stability they will help create and protect. Today's event is a perfect example of the breadth of perspectives and organizations we bring together to focus on today's and tomorrow's most pressing challenges. Be they from the public or private sector, intelligence community or special ops, federal departments or national commissions, we thank you for what you do to uphold and enhance security for all of us. Special thanks to our two keynote speakers who have invested their time with us today, Chris Inglis from the new Office of the National Cyber Director in the White House, and Kelly Fletcher from DoD CIO. Although now in the White House, Mr. Inglis is no stranger to the national security realm and to what we do here, and we look forward to welcoming him back at NDU in the near future. Similarly, the DoD CIO continues to advocate for our cyber and information programs throughout the national security enterprise and with Congress, and we heartily appreciate that support. For all the senior leaders out there, we recognize that you entrust us with the education and professional development of your future strategic leaders. For that, I want to express our sincere thanks. We work hard to live up to your expectations for the best education and development possible for the incredible professionals you send our way. I hope the close alignment between our work and yours is clearly evident. Now, as I close, I would like to reiterate how pleased and honored we are to be able to host this important forum once again. And with that, thank you for being a part of this year's Cyber Beacon.